test it again, see what happens, guys. Yeah, I feel you. I'm sorry, guys. Like, now all my applications ain't even running right because everything disconnected. Hold on, I gotta reconnect everything again. Yeah, I know. And you know what, though? The sad thing is that's pretty common. Usually you always got two choices. Third choice is usually coming into the different areas, but I don't know anywhere. Let me run a speed test. I mean, I know I'm live, but let me see what's going on here. If I'm being throttled by my carry, I swear to God, I'm gonna hurt these guys. Thing is fine. Download. I don't know if that's right or not because I am live, so I won't count it. But yeah, no, satellite. You don't want that, bro. You want to stay away from that as much as possible. Absolutely. Man, this killed my vibe, man. I swear to God, guys, it killed it. Like, I don't even want to go back now. That's how lazy I am. Like, in all reality, if I talk to hardcore RPers right now, they're gonna say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't be role playing just for jobs and make cash and blah blah." But it's not even the fact of what it is. It's like, okay, first of all, I'm on here. I'm playing as a citizen. Okay, I want to do a job, yeah, because I'm new to the server. I need some cash. I need to get a car. I need to get a house. You know, I'll start, you know, getting some things rolling in like I normally do. But right now, I'm trying to get situated. And how am I going to do that when it's always something happening? And this typically happens only on 5M. Because I know when I was on Rage, if you get disconnected, you can still do your thing. So that was pretty cool, you know. But again, Rage doesn't have NPCs and stuff. So I guess, I don't know, it was too good. I don't know. Maybe it won't do it anymore, I guess, right? What do you guys think? Nah, it's still gonna do it. I'm just gonna shut my internet off. Like, honestly, I'm gonna call and just turn it off. What do I need it for? My cell phone does just as good. Like, I don't need you guys. What's up, Joshua? Yeah, I'm upset right now, honestly. I'm trying not to be upset, but I am upset. I'm not even gonna hide it from you guys. I'm really ticked off. Like, this is really annoying, you know? I was having a good time. I was all positive energy. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, this just kind of popped in. You feel me? Like, no, don't do that, man. Let me get this chat over here so I can see you guys better. Now I'm gonna have to non-roleplay steal an NPC's car because I'll be damn, I'm gonna be walking back. You crazy and out of your mind. Probably there's no taxis online. Yeah, of course not. So you're out of your mind. I'm not doing that. I don't care. Don't take my advice, guys. But all right. Let's see suggestions. All right. So hopefully this gets a little fixed up. If not, it's gonna suck. Make it where job vehicles do not spawn when disconnecting. a timer to give the player a chance, right? That's what we want. That's what we're gonna do, guys. So at least give the player a chance to reconnect, okay? And I'm not saying a long thingy, but like, God forbid, let's say I'm in a role play. I jump out of the car right now with the cop and he's role playing with me and my car despawns. What the hell am I gonna do? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, little things like that. So there should be like a grace time period or something, because that can affect a lot of things rather than just a job. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Honestly, I don't know. I just gotten very lazy just now. Yeah, man. Oh, sitting here. It's already 8:30. I ain't got time. I'm just gonna go back to the city. Just call it quits, guys. I'm done. I'm done for the day. GTA just killed it for me. We'll do it again another day. Another day would be better. I'm gonna call my internet company. I'm gonna yell at these guys, and then we'll try this another day, because today is obviously not a good day to do this right now. Thank God I was not in a roleplay scene, guys. I put all that money into pumping gas in my truck for nothing, because it just despawns anyway. Alright, where's an NPC at? Come here. Or one of the citizens here at San Andreas. Of course there's none, because I'm on freaking desert. I hear them, but I don't see them. Oh, we gotta go out to the main road. Let me just go this way. This is the highway. Oh, this one doesn't matter. They would be out here, I think. I really wanted to do this filling job and like legit see all the money, like, but I couldn't. I couldn't see it, guys. Not today. We're not able to see it today. Come on, just give me a car already. Where are you running to? Come here. I'm gonna take out my anger on you. That's what I'm gonna do. This thing is too fast. I was gonna punch it, but now I'm too lazy to go chase it. Come on! Oh my God! Can somebody come up here? Is that one? Of course not. Well, why would they, right? That's a woman. She ain't gonna get out.
What frozen hell was that?
Yeah. Ladies always never do. I don't know why. It's always, that's like a thing in 5M.
What the hell was that?
You know exactly what it was. Now move on. I've never seen so many ladies in my life. Oh, here's a guy. Maybe he'll fight me. Good.
Son of a bitch!
You messing with a tough hombre!
Yeah, you can't climb, can you, buddy? Thank you. I'll take that. In my car? Where did my car go? I hope it didn't get impounded. I'll be... It probably went to the latest garage. It probably went... Oh my God! Let's go this way. Am I streaming offline again? Probably did. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go ahead and build that positive energy back. I just don't have the time now. I'll just mobile stream later. I'm doing better on mobile streaming now. Too bad I can't play this on xCloud. That'd be nice. But the problem is there's no Windows 10 or Xbox version to do all these. Anyway, I don't really play the original GTA that much. I hope there's no crosshairs in this game. If they got crosshairs, I'm done. Crosshairs is too easy for shooting. They have to really make use of the iron sights. Put my seatbelt on before I hurt myself. Of course, there's no way onto the highway. Why would there be? Thank you. Now the game wants to run fine. Ooh, what the hell are you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, more than likely our car is back at the garage anyway. Since we disconnected. I'm not 100% sure.
Get Jaffa.
Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. Alright, so let me guess, it's here now? Of course it is, see? I knew it. So everything that spawns when you log out. Okay. What's kind of a good thing, I guess, so to speak. I don't want to do that again. I really don't. 8:30, 9:30. I don't have the time, man. I'll do it one more time, guys. I disconnect. I swear to God, I'll rage quit. I will freaking rage quit. Howdy, what's going on? How are you there, Marla? All right, so let's try it again and cross our fingers and hope that we don't get disconnected. All right, here we go. Come on. Come on. I just want to see how much we actually get, and then I'm happy. Yeah, so I was doing the field trucker job and I got stranded all the way out while grabbing oil. But you know what? It wasn't the server though. It was my end. It was my internet. So I gotta take it up with my internet company and see what the heck is going on with these guys. My internet company's pooey. But my truck just spawned. Like, so what happened was I disconnected. Right? I disconnected and after disconnecting, I reconnected in a matter of like maybe 15-20 seconds. But my truck disappeared, so I had like 200 oils in the trunk. All gone. Yeah, I'm trying them out, yeah. I did trucking, I did fisherman, and I'm doing this one. So what I'm doing is I'm calculating the total payout. And then I'm just kind of seeing what they're all like, you know.
my nightmare.
Oh wow, my truck despawned, but that stayed. Okay. Wow. Oh, since you did whitelisted work, I gotcha. Yeah, fishing didn't really seem worthwhile. But I do agree with you. I've been on other servers where fishing was always the top thing to do. But it's actually good that it's not. Honestly, I mean, because fishing, people just kind of went out and about in the open sea, and I like that you guys have it in certain areas rather than anywhere you want. That's really good. Thank you for the follow there, guys. Hi. Oh, oof. Yeah, it was bad. Honestly, I don't have the time right now. If I get a ticket, I get a ticket. I'll just roleplay the ticket. That's all good. Just I won't go over the speed limit too much. Because right now, guys, I'm on a time limit. I gotta get off here soon. You've been doing the EMS. EMS is good. Oh, things are different now. Yeah. No, I agree. Usually I'll do like a whitelisted faction, and once you do that, you get paid anyway, so you don't really do jobs, you know. So, or you'll make a second account or whatever. But you know, I'm trying the beginning stuff, like when you join the server, what do players do in the beginning? I'm seeing how they are. I got a notebook here with suggestions and ideas and bugs and stuff, so it should be okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I remember that bus right there. I actually had a bus mod for San Andreas that actually looked just like that, guys. All right. Let me get positive again. I know I got a little upset earlier. I do apologize, guys, for being so negative. But then again, I know a lot of people watch negative streamers anyway, so I guess it's all right? But we'll be okay. Let's get back into rhythm here. My truck doesn't have the best feel, but we're gonna try again. So far, my internet's working fine. I disabled my 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, whatever Wi-Fi. So, and I'm running Ethernet, so I don't know what the problem is here. So hopefully it runs okay. Wait, why is it making me go this way? How do I gotta take the road? Sorry, guy, I gotta cut you off here. And the good thing about doing all this too, like if I ever do become a cop, at least I'll know the routes people take. So it's always good. Man, I remember San Andreas, guys. Being a trucker, you had to watch yourself. People come out and try to rob you while you're in a truck. They'll be like hanging out the windows with their guns out like, no! Whoa! Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Honestly, you can, well, the stream probably left now. They probably thought I went offline because my stream kept reconnecting, but usually I do police. That's usually what I do. I've done medic a couple times, but the police thing is usually what I favor the most. I didn't get it back. I had to go grab it again. Yeah. But like, usually I do the LSPD. Even on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I used to be the chief of police. I used to, you know, do all the cool stuff. It's a lot different in GTA 5. So, and what was it? On Next Generation Roleplay, I was a cop. A lot of roleplay servers on San Andreas. And then on here, there was a couple roleplay servers on GTA 5 that I was an officer. Most of them pretty much follow the LA, Los Angeles, like, police stuff. So it was all identical pretty much. Sometimes the codes were a bit different, but it's pretty cool. But EMSs are very important. How many EMS are on right now? None. Wait. None. Yeah, I noticed that, like, there's barely any on sometimes. Alright, let me get a little bit of gas on a run out. Don't you cut me. Seatbelts on. I keep forgetting about that. In the morning, there's wolves that's around. Ah, gotcha. Okay. I'm gonna try the job one more time, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna fill up the truck all the way. Oh, we were so close. All right, let me pump that up and see what's going on. So it's mostly just just two main EMS? Ouch. All right, so you guys need some medical help. All right, so if it came down to it, I don't get accepted for the police force or whatever, I'll definitely might consider that EMS thingy. Why is my car on fire? Oh God, don't tell me something else is about to happen to my truck. Oh, don't do this now. Come on. I didn't crash that much. Tell me this is gonna happen. Sorry guys. Oh, these headphones are hurting my ears. Why? Ouch. I hope it doesn't mean my truck's gonna blow up. Put gas in. My fluid is yellow, my oil. What am I supposed to do about oil? Oh man, I got another problem. Oh dear gosh. So that means every time I do trucking now, I gotta call a mechanic and put gas in my truck? Oh man, you know what? I'm legit. You know what I'm going to do? Legit. Okay, so how does the items work on this server? Do you have to store your car to save your items? I think I'm just gonna put my oil in my truck in my car. Is there a mechanic on? There is one. Oh man. Oh well, I'm gonna try. If not, you know what? Hold up, time out. You know what? Screw this. Where am I at on the map? Or fix a kit. I'll have to give me a fix a kit. How far am I? I'm already up here. Dang, I hate that we can't just take out our car at any garage. We can only take it out. I'm just gonna use my personal car for this. I'm gonna try to stick it out with this for now, but next time I'm gonna use my personal cars for jobs, guys. I'm not even gonna use the trucks anymore. The trucks ain't worth it. They're too slow. Their storage capacity is the only thing that makes it worthwhile, but that is it. Well, I guess the realism driving is good. I was going a little fast, not gonna lie. I don't usually drive like this, guys. I'm just having a tough time at the moment. Yeah. Okay, so future reference, if this happens, just call a mechanic. They'll come, they'll fix the problem. That's good. And then the vehicle repair kit, whatever thingy is over at the, you get it at the store. But man, that's $3,000. $3,000. I wish we could stay in the truck. I hate that I lost my truck because I have to stay out of the truck to collect things. It's stupid. You have to be on foot. See, this is where it gets me, because now if I disconnect, I'm gonna lose my truck. Oh man, I gotta do all this. The kits from mechanics, cool. Yeah, 3,000 at the store. That's cool. Well, I'll have to call the mechanic one day, see how much they cost. Or actually, hold on, let me see something here. No, not that. Mechanics are actually in your phone book, right? Yeah. Does this actually work? I'm gonna be here anyway for a while. Why not? Okay. Where am I at anyway? Okay, hold on. Before I make this call, let's take a look at the map. Right now we're out in Grand Sonora Desert, near Route 68. Okay. a mechanic. Oh, wait a minute. Does a mechanic... Can you pay with a credit card, or you can only pay with cash? Well, I guarantee it's going to be cash. Oh, they bill me. Sweet. Wait a minute. Okay, so in the messages... Wait, what? How do I send them? I send GPS. Okay, yeah, so that I remember. I remember that from being in the police before. Hopefully they respond to that. Okay, so we're full on oil there, guys. This vehicle does not belong to you. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me, yo. Oh, I was about to say. Okay. Get to the trunk spot. I'm having bad luck, guys, with everything. I'm just so screwed at the moment. So that's cool they bill me. Okay, cool, because I was wondering, because I was like, I don't have the cash on me. I would have had more cash if the server didn't disconnect. Or I didn't disconnect, actually. Oh, man. All right, let's see what else we got going on here, guys. So right now we're collecting some more of these, which no, we're not. Why am I not collecting anything? What the heck? Wow, I never put it in the trunk. Yeah, I did put it in the trunk. Why am I not collecting oil? Nothing happened. I'm out of luck, guys. Oh well. Alright, we're getting more oil, which is good. Did I clock in? Yeah, I clocked in. Yeah. See, it's weird because... Oh, no, yeah. So I had to go all the way back and clock in and then go all the way back and grab a truck again. So I hope I don't lose anything. Last time I had about 200 oil in a chunk and then I crashed. I mean, things happen. It's just at the spur of the moment I was really upset. You know. It's okay, though. We're in it for the glory, right? We're in it for the enjoyment. Woo! Oh, am I lagging? When I'm in game, it looks like my... Is it running pretty good now? Why was it lagging just now? Thank you for that, guys. I really appreciate it. All right, this is actually doing too much to me right now. So let me actually close this out. And I'm actually just gonna go ahead and use the cartoon character maybe because we were lagging just hardcore just now. Yeah, we were taking up way too much resources on that. Alright, 2 more, guys. 2 more and we're good. Actually, you know what? Let me just... I'm burning. Oh, let me put the AC in. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started in here. Alright, things are good, things are good, things are good. Alright, so let's... Oh, that's no wonder these headphones are hurting me. Look, the way they're fitting. Why are they fitting like that? Oh, shoot, it's cracked. No! You know what, guys? I think it's time for new headphones. Oh, shoot, it cracked right here. I've had these headphones for a long time. Oh, it looks repairable though. Let me see. It cracked right where the screw goes in, so it's not going to hold in place. No wonder my right ear is hurting. Alright, so for now, I can just put it more... I can just keep the right ear strict, and then just put the left ear loose, right? That might help. I don't know if that's going to help or not, guys, but that's why it's doing what it's doing. Okay, now I know why my ear is hurting. That makes sense. Alright, so we just locked it. Let's go ahead and unlock it real quick. Let's go ahead and put 24 of these over here to the side. Okay, let's keep collecting the oil. Bear with me here, guys. That is looking all crazy. Well, it doesn't really match. It doesn't really fit in with... Well, I mean, it kind of does, right? Because we're red and black. And who cares? Oh well. We're not disconnected, right? You guys are still here with me? I feel so bad, man. I wish I wouldn't have gotten the disconnects like I did, guys. It ruined everything. It ruined everything. But I hope we're okay now, which I think we will be. Why is this game being weird? It's being weird. Okay. All I need is just a little bit of money, guys. And I really want to get a business. I got to see how we're going to go about with that. I looked at some of them. It looks like you need to put a certain percent down and then be certified. Is there a bunch of popo right now? Yeah. There's 3 plus. 3 plus, yep. Yep. All right, let's keep it up. Yeah, no mechanic ever responded, guys. So the mechanic system is probably out of the question. So let me double check. I never received anything. Nope, they never replied. Oh well. Yeah, let's put more stuff in the trunk. So we know now it's not a really good thing. So we have to think of an alternative, guys, just to be safe. Am I lagging again? Why do I feel like I'm lagging? I'm dropping a few FPS here and there. Why? What the heck is going on here? My settings ain't even that high. Wait, what the heck are you talking about? No. My VRAM, I'm only using 3,000 out of 11,000, so I'm fine. I turn VSync on. Maybe VSync on will help the lag, guys. So let me go ahead and apply that. Yeah, don't be. This might help the stream because I think if I don't have this on, it likes to be weird. I don't like VSync, but I'll have to turn it on for the sake of the stream. Can't figure out why your car color didn't change. Really? Yeah, I don't know, bro. I didn't like that. I don't even like my color car. I'm gonna go back and redo it again. It could just be the type of car, you know. Alright, so it took me 3 hours to do this job. And I haven't got paid yet, guys, so we'll see what happens. Alright, let's do it. Why is your hand stuck?
What is this stupid thing?
Whoa. You're getting close to my equipment. Be careful.
Yeah, and your equipment's gonna be like this.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I can use that ladder, climb up top. Yeah, I need to get a weapon license, guys. I don't like this. I don't like being unarmed. Jay, did we find out what the legal weapons were? Did you find a thing on Discord for it or no? Because they do everything on Discord, so we're gonna have to look on Discord and see if see what's going on. You know, I'm gonna go in my car for a second before it despawns. Let's hop out. Am I collecting oil again? I don't know if I am or not. Oh yeah, I am. Good. Sweet. It remembers. It's still running. But can I be on the passenger side and do it? What the hell is my guy doing? Well, I'm collecting it, right? Okay, good. I'm collecting it. All right, this is how you do it, guys. You don't lose your truck. You didn't see anything about what's legal or illegal? There's got to be something, bro. There's no way a roleplay server doesn't have what's legal or not. Maybe at the gun shop you can only buy what's legal anyway, so that might be why. So we're gonna find out. Because if it's legal to have an AR assault rifle, then there's a problem. One, that'd be unfair for the cops. Two, that... Well, I guess going about getting a weapon, though, I guess is a bit more tedious and expensive, so maybe people are more careful about it. So I guess that could be why. Yeah, that's a major problem. Yeah, I don't see them doing that, though. Look, my character's trying to switch seats, guys. Now I'm gonna say in here, can I access the trunk here? That's the only thing I can't do is the trunk. Okay, but everything else we can. All the pistol and shotgun. Okay, so your normal legal weapons. At least I have to check the spawns. I don't care. I want to keep the product. I want to keep the product in my trunk bed, so I can take it back and still clock in and sell it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hunting license will be nice. It might even be worth money. I wonder if you like have to sell the animal fur or something, right? What do you think? All right, let's see. You think you do? Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll have to check it out. Like I said, guys, we got a few ideas and suggestions written on here, so we've been working. Look at the camera angle. All right, we're almost done there. Actually, I do need to eat something. Hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's going to make me want to eat more than one. Hold on, one. Okay, now let's back it out. The character's twerking. Yes, he is. He is definitely twerking. The things we got to do to keep our cars, guys. We ain't get no mechanic to come out here. That's sad. What's up, Star Stud? How are you, bro? How are you, man? I think we're full. Yes, we are full, so let's hop out. That's great. I'm glad to hear you're doing great, man. How was your Fortnite? All right, so let's hop in the trunk real quick. Let's go ahead and take 24 of these bad boys. Switch them on over. Okay. And keep collecting more, guys. Oh, you've been playing the new COD. Yeah, I haven't been on as much. When it first came out, I played it nonstop. And then I play it periodically, just not so much on stream. It's not really like a highly requested game for streaming. The viewers haven't really asked much for it, but I do play it on my off-stream time quite frequently. You know, I think everybody just hates the game at the moment. You get the N-word too much? Yeah, you have to mute. Bro, you gotta mute the party chat or only accept your chat from your party. You can't do game chat, bro. No, you're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna get YouTube giving you a big fine, especially if you say it's for kids, and then you're gonna have Twitch saying the N-word is one of the profanity words that is definitely not legal. It's considered racism, and that's a big problem. Bum bum bum. Bum ba bum ba bum 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 bum. 21 out of 24. I don't mind it. I just want them to finish updating it. I know, me too. I mean, they added some maps. They changed some guns. I don't know, bro. The crossplay is awesome. I love that. I just feel like, you know, 1, footsteps. 2, give us Dead Silent as a perk, not a damn field ops. And 3, just... what is with your maps? Like... when the developer gets on a camera and says that, well, we made these maps to provide safe space for new players, but still keep the map competitive or whatever, whatnot. Okay, so you provided safe space with loud footsteps. What are we supposed to do here? And the spawns are just ridiculous, yeah. But spawns has always been trash, though. Spawns have always been trash on COD. You know, let's be honest here. I don't think that's something that's never going to be fixed because it's a fast-paced game. Not even enemy footsteps. Right. Yeah, bro. Your own team. Like, that's too much. The enemy footsteps ain't even that loud. It's your own team. Like, what the heck? Yeah, but I hear the footsteps really good with the headphones, thankfully. It does get annoying, though. It really does. But what we gonna do, right? Jay, we might have to do jobs together, bro, in case we lose something. How we looking on gas? 95? 95, 250. Man, time flies, man. Last day you played, you got killed by a bomb inside of a building, which is super annoying. Yeah. So what I noticed about Call of Duty Modern Warfare is that if you are in a building, stay away from windows and open doors, because you will get killed. You could still get bombed, especially like cluster bombs. Those things can really get you. He's doing good. Doing well. All right, we got a little bit more, guys. So, but those that are coming in probably wondering what the heck is Trix even doing right now. We're actually, I'm doing the fueling job here for GTA 5, and I'm just collecting oil right now, guys. I'm at the oil rig collecting oil. Don't mind what my character's doing. He's just being weird. Yeah, that was what annoyed you, right? I was in the middle of a building far away from windows and doors. Ouch. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That is crazy. Man, Sea of Thieves kicked my butt last night, Jay. Oh my god, I can't do that long again, bro. No. That killed me. Alright, I literally ruined my entire day. Okay, we're almost done here, guys. We got a lot of oil going on. It was fun. Yeah, I do agree. It was very fun. Have you played any RP GTA? That's what I'm doing right now, Starstud. I'm actually playing on a server called WRP, which is a Wondering Roleplay. That's what we're on right now. I'm doing the feeler job. I played RP before in GTA 5. I've had a really good run, a really good time. And then, I don't know, I just felt like... And then I just took a little break, you know? I was like, I got kind of roleplayed out. And now I'm getting back into it. And believe it or not, people like it, bro. I looked at my YouTube, and the view counts are insane. Like, people watch this stuff. Like, it's crazy. So, we'll be doing some GTA roleplay. You know, I don't think so much for live streaming. It's not as great, but for YouTube, it's awesome. It definitely generates eyeballs. Because honestly, sometimes total live views and highlighted views are not really good numbers to really base it on. YouTube is good because like it's there, it's archived, and people actually go on YouTube to watch videos. So like, if it's getting clicked on, that means there's something good about it. All right, what else do we have? Do you play Starsted? I know you got a PC, bro. Have you played GTA roleplay or no? You never played any RP. It takes practice, bro. It looks funny. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's cool because here's the thing. So on roleplay, you got this big open world, right? You got the city here. You get a job, you buy cars, you buy houses, you buy businesses, you meet real players, you don't get pulled over by the cops, police, you get hurt, you gotta wait for the paramedics to come get you. Like, it just really makes the online experience much better than what Rockstar does. I don't know what Rockstar does. All they want to do is spam your phone in game saying, buy this, buy that, gamble here at the casino, pick out your credit card, and you'll get this, and that. Ooh, I think we're almost at the max here, guys. So hold on, what do we got here? How much can I put oil-wise? Oh, snap. So it looks like only 200 oil can go in there. Yep, 200 oil. All right, so then let's collect more we can, and then we're out of here, guys. My truck is smoking. We got 3 more to get, and we're gone. Running gun, right? Yeah, well, you got to get a gun, bro. You got to go pay a $5,000 weapon license fee. Then you got to go buy the weapon. Then you got to buy the ammo. You know, and then you have to talk to the players. Like, you actually have to roleplay the situation. You can't just, you know, just shoot them on sight because that's considered deathmatching. All right, so now that we did this, the next spot we need to do is this one right here. This one was the refine the oil. So let's go ahead and head on and do that. Alright, let's get our seatbelt on too, guys. Make sure we're safe here. Okay, so I'm driving crazy, don't mind me. I just hope our truck doesn't despawn, guys, but so far things are running pretty good. Yeah, so jobs are not good, guys, if we're having internet issues. So that's one thing to bear in mind. They should put that in, like, in the fine print, like right at the bottom. I could buy a repair kit, but I'm not even going to worry about it. I think we're going to be good. Yeah, I think we should be okay. I don't want to spend $3,000 on a repair kit. Can't call the mechanic because they're not replying. I don't want to spend that and then the truck despawns and I'm out of luck. Just pass the truck up.
Fuck, dude.
Hey, don't be cussing at me. He's like, dude. Yeah, there's a gun shop right over there. Yeah, man. Weapon license. And then you gotta buy the weapon. And then if you get in trouble and pull over by the cops, you lose your weapon license, and then you lose your weapon. So that's more money you got to spend. And making money on here is not like GTA Online. Not at all. Very, very different. Stay in your lane there, buddy. Alright. Alright, so we're going this way now. Yeah, you wouldn't want to lose your weapon, right? It's okay. It's okay, Star Stud. It happens. If you die, you lose your weapon. You get arrested, you lose your weapon. I think you keep your weapons if the paramedics get you. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like there's not enough paramedics on the server. We need some paramedics, guys. Paramedics are really nice because they can come and help you, revive you, and make you keep your stuff, you know? Yeah. Oh, wait, right now we got a paramedic online. What do you know? Look at that. J13's on here too. Jay, I didn't know you were here, bro. We got 16 players online right now, guys, which is nice. Oh! Totally just missed my turn. Oh, sorry. There's a garage here too. That's cool. Oh gosh, not this. Look at this little tight space. Oh! You just got online. I gotcha. I'm not stalking you, Jay. Don't worry. I'm not that weird. I'm not that much of a creep. Jay's like, yeah, right, Trix. Yeah, I can't do CATs on mobile, bro. I wanted to, but man, I was kept disconnecting so bad. We gotta be on foot, really? Alright, I gotta jump out of the circle and jump right back in, guys. Let's go. Alright, so let's go ahead and sit on this side. I wish there was like a back door to sit in, like closer to the trunk. I can't access the trunk while I'm in here. Alright, so right now we're taking the oil and we're turning it into, or petrol, my bad, into refined oil. So once we get that worked around, guys, we're gonna be good. Alright, let's see what else we got going on here. Let's keep it up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'm not gonna ask what my character is doing. What are you doing? Alright, so right now 12 out of 24, 6 out of 24. Okay. I feel it. I'll just grab 24 at a time, guys. So let's actually, we'll have to get that ready. No, for here, I'm just gonna type 24. That way, that's all ready. I like that I remember, so that's good. You do have to eat and drink beverages and snacks and stuff, guys, to stay alive, because you do have a hunger and thirst system here on Roleplay. We do carry a jerry can because sometimes we need gas for our truck. Empty bottles, don't ask. Me and Jay, we like to go around garbage picking, and we sell those bottles to make extra cash. Alright, so let's see what we got here. We still got some... I think we just... Yeah, we did them all. Alright, so right now we're going to access our truck, or trunk, I mean, my bad. I'm going to grab 24 of these. So it looks like it gives us half. Okay, so I kind of see how it works. 24 petrols will give you 12 refined oil, so you're getting half. Oh, okay. Alright. I see. See, you're -2, but you're getting +1. So it looks like it's always going to be the same. Alright, so I think we're getting this down to the science. Alright, so I'm going to let that do its thing. And I'll be right back. Hopefully we don't get disconnected. Oh my god. Okay, so that's going to give us 24 refined oils, right? So we're going to put those refined oils over here, and we're going to grab 24 more of those again. Once again, guys, we're going to sit inside the truck just to be safe. All right, things are looking good. Things are working better. At least it's working this time. And this time we can actually base it off. We have $87 in cash, so I'm going to write a little 87 here. So we kind of know exactly how much we're going to be making once we're done with all this, once we're all said and done. I think trucking was about 3,700, so let's see how much this one is. Stop jumping around because you'll make the internet cut off. Stop it. 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 Yeah, so we're going to try this one, guys. See what's going on. Ay, 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 ay. Man, everybody's getting busted in jail. Look at that. Holy moly. Alright. Got a little bit more to go. Once it gives us that message that we can't do it anymore, guys, we're going to hop out, which I think we're going to do it now anyway, because I think it's almost done anyway. Yep, can't carry enough, so we're going to go ahead and press the trunk button here. A little delay, but it's all good. Then we're going to put some more of these out. Alright, we're looking good. We're working hard today, guys. Busting our butt cheeks off. Let's get it, get it. Get it, get it. Alright, so what else do we have going on here, guys? How's everybody been? Is everybody excited for their Thanksgiving, guys? Anybody got some amazing plans? Happy Turkey Day soon coming up, guys. I was doing the turkey thing, but maybe that's what caused my internet to go off. I don't know. Star said, I'm just going to eat. Best plan. That is the best plan. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. Now, here's the big question. Everybody always goes turkey and ham and pork roast and this and that. What's the best, guys? Turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Aw. That's a good one. I like that one. Oh, can't carry anymore. Oh, Jay's here. Well, is that who I think it is? Oh, nearby vehicle? What do you mean? Jay, you scared me, bro. I almost left. Alright, let's get that refined oil over here. Let's get this bad boy out. Yay, what's going on? Oh, gosh. How are you today? Everything all right there? Hold on, emotes. I need to get a chatting emote. How do I get like a... Alright, alright, alright. How are you today, fine sir? Fried turkey. Fried turkey sounds good. I don't seem to be able to apprehend what you're saying to me. I like your new ride, though. Where'd you get it? Hey, are you talking in game? I don't hear you in game, bro. Uh-oh. Oh no, that's not good, bro. We gotta fix it. Gotta fix it. Oh, unplug and replug. Remember last time? Yeah, seems to be the case sometimes, you know?
How about now?
Oh, yeah, nice and clear there, buddy. Let me go ahead and unload some of these really quick. All right, so we got the refined fuel. We're gonna move that over to the side. Let's get some more of these. Oh, man. Did you call it off today?
I turned the lights up.
What, did you call up at work today?
I just came into town today.
Oh, okay. I see it. Oh, it's glad to have you back, man. I see you got a new set of wheels there.
Yeah, I had to have something.
I like it. How much did it go for?
It was 12,000.
12,000. Ooh wee! You know how many Clucking Bell tacos you could have had with that?
Well, yeah, quite a few.
Oh man. Yeah, I had a truck malfunction on me earlier, so I had to call in for a backup, and this is the second truck they let me rent it today, and oh, let's say, what a day I had.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
Okay. Let's go ahead and load this up real quick in here. It's alright though. The oil seems to be pretty hot today. Looks like people are using gas every day.
I wish my headlights would turn off.
Oh. You know what? I heard there's a mechanic in town. Maybe they might be able to tweak the headlight switch or something. Oh gosh. I'm just glad it's actually working now, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, this thing is actually working. Oh wait, I think you almost had it. How about you hop inside, hit that light switch, and then try it on your remote. See if it helps any. Alright guys, let's go ahead and put this oil away. Alright, look at that engine. Did you hear that?
Yeah, my headlights don't turn.
Oh. Yeah, looks the lights look on to me. Oh, did you just check Twitter? They're selling fixed kits for $1,500. Look at that. Your local 24/7 want to charge you $3K. That's not a bad deal. That's like half off.
We're gonna have to get some of those.
Right? That's exactly what I'm saying. I think at my next stop, I'll call the mechanic, have them work on my truck while I can look at my truck. Oh, man. I think they forgot to do an oil change. Can you pull it out? Here. This reminds me of the sock and poppers. Blow them up. You put your hand inside, swing them around, and start a pillow fight. Sock and poppers.
Daddy?
Yeah.
Problem.
What's that?
What other problem?
Hold on. Alright, I think I'm almost done here, pretty much mixing the oil. I'm gonna have to go, or wait, actually I think I'm refining the oil, I'm sorry. I have to go mix the oil here shortly.
My headlights are broken.
Oh, you think they're broken? Oh gosh.
Let's go see the mechanic and see what they can fix.
I agree. Alright, looks like my oil here should be done by now, judging by my stopwatch here. Let me go ahead and load these up. Technically, if I wanted to do this correctly, I could go get some more oil and then refine some more, and it'll give me a full load. But I think for now, I'm just going to go ahead and just get them mixed up. What are you about to do there? Yeah, but your headlights, yeah, they definitely need work done over there. I don't know what's going on with those. Can you do both? Yeah. Make it quicker? Yeah, well, kind of. Like right now, I can actually go back here right now, grab some more and come back, but I'm not even gonna worry about it because like I'm having the risk of my car crashing. All right, let me go ahead before my truck gets out of service here. I'm gonna take this over to the mixture refinery. Right. You know what? One thing I forgot to mention. What's your how much did the dealership say you can store-wise in your trunk? Like, what's your capacity back there, like size-wise?
I am.
Yeah. See, look at it. I'm doing half, 11.2. I can do so much more. Yeah. Is it open? Okay.
Should be open.
Yeah, it looks like you're holding about. Looks like you got a like a 10-inch trunk there, so that's not too bad. The truck here has 20-inch, so I guess I'm just thinking future-wise, like if we ever want to like do things, we can like store things in our, in our trunks, get our jobs done quicker, All right, I'm about to head out. Watch this, guys. Wait. Hold on 1 second. I almost forgot there, man. We've flown together in town together and never got each other's numbers. I'm gonna need your number there real quick if you don't mind.
I'll find it here in my phone.
Yep, ready whenever you are. Yeah.
Looks like my number is 111. Hello.
Hey there, so you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I'm gonna talk and drive here for a little bit. I figured we could stay on the phone with each other while we're driving. Yeah, how you doing, man? Don't forget to save my number. It should have popped up on your screen.
Okay.
All right, sounds good, man. Just don't get caught talking and driving, okay?
Yeah, I don't want to get pulled up.
That's a big ticket. All right, let's go to the next spot here, guys. The next spot's gonna be down here. Which this is where...
I can't drive it.
Oh, wait, what is it doing to you? Oh man, my truck is looking pretty bad. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do about my truck here, man. You wouldn't happen to have a vehicle kit on you, would you? You got a toolbox on you? Oh, I think he just hung up on me. I'm gonna call him again, guys, see what's going on here. Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's okay. My phone just was acting up.
Oh man, the service out here sucks out here in the Sonora Desert, doesn't it?
Yeah, that.
Ooh-wee. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so far I'm about to find out today if this job's worthwhile. If not, I'm just gonna fill out a new application, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna have to find me a gas station pretty soon.
Okay, we can do that. Are you right behind me? Did you find me? I'm actually on the Palomino Freeway right now.
I think I lost you.
Okay, I'll wait on the side of the freeway real quick with my hazards on so you can't miss me. Oh, he lost signal again. I'm headed to the store now. Just had to eat and wait. Oh, cool. Wicked. Sounds good, bro. Thank you so much. Hey, be careful. Be careful traveling out there. All right. Oh, wait, I lost him again. Yeah, we're getting bad signal up here, guys. What the heck is going on? Yo, what's up, Skull, bro? What's going on, bro? All right, I don't think I see you. Oh man, the signal keeps getting lost. What the heck is going on? Let me tell him we're gonna meet him at the gas station.
Wow, this service is bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. I'll meet you at the gas station that's real close to us. I'm on the Palomino Freeway gas station here near the gun store.
Okay.
Or near the ammunitions, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because driving is giving us low signal. No cash. Of course not. All right, did you find it?
I might have took the wrong turn.
Oh boy. That's not good.
I think I do have a gas can, but
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be the, you can't miss it. There's a lot of bright lights here. I don't think I should be talking and pumping gas. I think this is illegal. Oh man, if they went Google Play, that'd be nice. I think they did. I'm pretty sure they did. I'm not 100% though. Thank you, Andy. Right, okay. All right, well, where are you at right now? I might be able to just find you.
I see a sign that says Home of the Patriot. I'm not too far from that.
That's not a good. Where you at exactly, like on your map, on your GPS? I mean, are you on Palomino Freeway, Route 15?
I'm on the Grand Senora.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's go ahead and head back to Los Santos. I'll go ahead and head south, and then we'll meet up.
Okay, where do you want to meet up at?
So I'm heading down south now towards LS. So right now I'm going to be 2 miles out pretty much. Probably be there in a few minutes. I'm going to go all the way down southern though, near the industrial area. Hope they do. I hope so too. I really hope they do too. Surprisingly, our phones are working good, man. Service towers must be good in this area. Andy, I really appreciate those. Thank you guys. Follow my tops.
Okay, I will head down south and try to find you.
Okay, sounds good there, Mr. Walker. Seems like I'm getting close to town right now. Yeah, I think you took a different highway. So right now... Oh, yeah. Alright. Seems like I'm gonna be getting off here soon. Alright, looks like I'm heading into the I'm at South Los Santos now. Taking Route 20. I believe you're not lagging. Yay! Hey, Thomas, right? Thomas, what's up, bro? Dum 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 dum. You gotta be kidding me. You don't want to know the bearer of bad news. I think my truck's gonna break down. No. Come on, man. For real?
Oh, no, that's not good.
I'm so close. I might need another truck. This is truly messed up. This is bad, guys. I don't like this. Yeah, driving trucks is not worth it. The amount of headaches I gotta go through for this thing is ridiculous. There's so many hills in this game. I found out why I was lagging. It's because I didn't update the... Oh, really? Well, that's interesting. This is a bad spot to break down. Yeah, we're not looking too good here. Yeah, I'm getting full bars now. Thank gosh for this good batteries we have in these phones. I don't have to worry about a phone charge. I don't know what kind of carrier to get, how they figure this out, but this is nice. I know the other server guys, you gotta like charge your phone.
Battery life with this signal.
Okay, all right, Wicked, sounds good, bro. I'm almost done here, guys. Like, I'm literally almost done here. Once I mix all this up, we're done, you know? What? With what? I'm busy. I don't have much time. I gotta get off and get ready to go to work. I gotta go to that one place soon. Give me a second. What happened?
I'm finding my Hot Wheels.
Your what?
My Hot Wheels.
Oh. Okay. Give me a second. All right. Right, Thomas? He has to think that. Oh my gosh, I don't think I'm gonna make it, guys. Right. All right. Okay, so now I'm down by the industrial right now.
Okay,
Actually, I can send you my coordinates. Hold on. Give me a second. Alright, so right now we're getting essence, guys. I can't. My car broke down. Oh, man. Okay, this is the real deal, guys. Oh yeah 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 yeah. All right, we almost got it. Did the truck just turn back on? What the heck? Car is on, so that's good. Put some gas on it. Well, it's not the gas. My oil or my fluid is burning. Look at my hood. It's burning, right? It's smoking. It's not looking too good for us, guys. Gaming, thank you so much and welcome to the Trix Gaming Squad. It's nice to have you aboard. You already know what you need to do to check out your beautiful commands that you can do here, as well as mini games, all your additional benefits and perks and everything. If not, let us know. We'll go ahead and type those in chat for you. Oh my gosh, guys, new sub hype. Right? Did I even added a sub hype command yet? I think we did. Thank you so much, Wicked. Oh my gosh, guys. Look, we're at 10 subs right now, guys. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, there he is. Oh, man, I might be in trouble, man. Look at my engine. Look at my hood. Oh my god, look at that. Woo. I think they gave me a lemon.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh gosh, I'm almost done here, man. All I gotta do is one more stop. Hopefully I can make it back. We're not far, so that's good. It might be okay. Look at that, Wicked Gamer. You're doing great, bro. You're doing great.
Looks like they're having a daily special right now, too.
Oh, daily special. Nice. Let me check that out. I forgot how we check to see what we got for our daily. Do you remember? What was it? What was the daily special?
I think you had to type in something.
Yeah, did that. I'm trying to see what the special was. Interesting. Oh, I think I see what it is. Okay. All right.
Looks like it was a pretty good special.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for filling up my glass cup, guys. We're looking awesome. Look at that already today. Wicked coming in with the cheers and the subscription. Shout out to Wicked Gaming, guys. What up? Wicked, I really appreciate your support, bro. I really do. Thank you so much. I really, really thank you for that. Let me put these away real quick. Put those over here. All right, we're almost done here.
Give me a wrecked truck.
Uh-huh.
I think they give you a wrecked truck.
Oh gosh, what the? What the? Oh no! Am I gonna be okay? Why is the truck on fire? Oh my god!
No, I don't know.
Come on, can you call the fire department? Wow, man. Okay, it looks like the cooling system kicked in. Wow. There you go, Wicked Gaming. Now you got it. See? It tells you your expiration and everything, so you know. Okay, it looks like... Yeah, that was scary. Oh my god, too bad I'm not a mechanic.
I think your truck died.
I think so too, and I just got done making the essence. Let me try it out, see what's going on here. Looks like I'm gonna be pushing this bad boy all the... You gotta be kidding me. No! The door system, the door locks won't work. Oh my god. Wow, come on. I can never finish this job. It's driving me nuts. Wait, now it's unlocked.
Anyway.
God, I can never do what I need to do, guys. Really? You mind doing me the biggest favor in the world?
Okay, good.
You think you can head up to the nearest store? I'll pay you the money when you get back. Or can I just send you the funds? How can I do this? Hold on, let me see. It's like I got pretty much money that can be made in this truck, and I don't want to just leave it. Now it's gonna start lagging. No!
I can always pay for it. I can always, you can refund me.
Yeah, that's true. I was gonna say I'll just need your bank ID, whatever, and then I can send it to you. I think.
You're fired!
Hold on. Hold on.
Looks like it's 7589.
Daddy?
All right. Okay, you said it was what?
7589.
No, that's not it. That's just a bank showing the example. I think yours is going to be, hold on, let me try this. All right, see it that, did you get anything?
Yeah, I did come through.
Okay, perfect. Can you go get that for me?
Yeah, I can do it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it big time. I wish I could at least go inside. Can't get inside the truck. Dang it. Dude, stop. You're pushing my chair. Team deathmatch? No, we don't do that. I'm doing roleplay right now. Come on, guys. My truck! Man's booing. There you go, Wicked. You're getting it now, bro. Hi there. Oh, gosh, so Jay's gonna go. Man, I ain't got much time, guys. Almost time for me to get off again. I never have time to play this game ever. I'm always in a rush. So let me see. Nothing popping off here anyways. I'm just gonna